Hey everybody, I'm Chris and this is my channel Chesapeake Chris. Thanks so much for stopping by. This video is going to be a little different from past videos. I'm going to put a new muffler on my Dodge Ram 1500 truck. I've already watched a video on how to do it. The gentleman had a lot of good advice. So I'm going to try and replace the muffler on my truck. This will be kind of a different video for me, but we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it'll all go well. Now the reason I'm doing this muffler replacement myself is because I had it looked at. Normally I just pay to have his stuff done, but I had it looked at and they wanted to replace the muffler and that whole 6-foot tail piece that comes out of the muffler and the piece of pipe that runs to the muffler at the inlet. That's the piece that goes from like where it's a V6, so that goes from where the Y pipe comes together. And so they wanted to replace the muffler and two pieces, and it was very expensive. Well, as you know, I'm retired now, so I figure if I can do it myself for 115 bucks, 120 counting clamps, I'm gonna try and do it myself. Here's the muffler on my truck. It's kind of before the back wheels, but if you look, you can see what happened is the tailpipe broke off right at the muffler. No! So we need to replace the muffler, and it's kind of a long tailpipe. The tailpipe actually goes across the back axle and then comes out the back of the truck, but it snapped right off at the outlet of the muffler. So we're gonna put a new muffler on it. Now here's the tailpipe piece, and as you can see, it's in really good shape. Doesn't even really have any rust on it. I don't know if it's stainless steel or what, but right here is where it clamped onto the muffler, the piece that broke off. And if you look at this clamp and this bolt, you can't even hardly tell that's a bolt anymore. It is so rusted. So we're going to cut that clamp off. We're probably going to have to cut that piece off that broke off of the muffler, and we'll sand that guy up, and then we got to try and get the clamp off the front of the muffler and get the muffler off the pipe. But we're going to cut this clamp off first, and we're going to try and slip that piece off and clean it up. When cutting that metal pipe or working underneath your truck, be sure you have a pair of safety glasses on. So this is kind of a pain. I figured I'd try to pull that piece that broke off the muffler off the tailpipe first, so I used my little Dremel and I cut through the band, which was pretty easy to do. But then it appears the band is actually welded on to that piece on the muffler. It looks like it came with the muffler, and then that piece that broke off the muffler is split there. So I'm going to try and hit it with some lubricating stuff, and I'm going to try and put my screwdriver under there and pry it open a little bit and see if I can get that piece off. But it's not like a normal clamp. So that piece was on there pretty good. So what I ended up doing is, where that groove was already in it, I took my Dremel tool and I cut back farther till I got to the end of this pipe, being very careful not to cut into this pipe because I don't want to damage this pipe. But I cut it back there, and then I put a screwdriver in there and pried it up a little bit. And then I took my hammer and just hammered it off. And then I took a little bit of sandpaper and cleaned this up. You could probably use a wire brush on a drill or whatever you got, but I just took and cleaned it up a little bit. I got some lithium grease too that I may use when I try to slide all this together. But let's see how this piece fits into the muffler, the new muffler. So that piece slid right in to the outlet of the new muffler. Now this muffler is supposed to be an exact replacement. It's a walker. I got it off Amazon. AutoZone also has them on their website. There's a lot of websites you can get them from. I got it off Amazon, free delivery, about 110 bucks. It's supposed to be an exact replacement, proper hangers and everything. I read the reviews, and at least 3 or 4 people said they put this muffler on a 2007 Dodge Ram 1500, which is what I got, and it was a perfect fit. So I got clamps too to put on there and to put on here. But it wasn't too bad getting that piece off. So what I may end up doing is I may end up cutting. I got a Sawzall. I may end up cutting real close to the muffler on the inlet, on the old muffler. Cut this piece off there. That way I can get the muffler out of the way. And then that way I can take my Dremel tool and groove down it and use a screwdriver and pop it off. We'll see how it goes. And like I said, I do have a Sawzall, or a reciprocating saw, whatever you want to call it. And I got an angle grinder with cut-off wheels. But when I cut through that piece there, I did not, like I said, I did not want to cut into that pipe. So I figured it'd be easier to do it with my little Dremel tool. Really take my time and be nice and easy. So that, in fact, I didn't quite, I just barely cut to the edge of that. And if you stick a screwdriver down there, you can kind of tear it apart with a screwdriver. But I got a couple different types of cut-off wheels for my Dremel. I got this one, and then I got this style too. So, like I say, I kind of used both to make that cut. I started with this and here, but then I finished with this one, and it worked pretty good. So, and once I cut the front part of that muffler off, I'm pretty much at the point of no return. I don't think I'll be able to put it back on. So to make sure that this muffler is the right size, I got a cheap set of calipers, dial calipers from back when I used to reload ammunition. And what you can do is, but you can measure the inside diameter of this pipe, see how big it is. And it does turn out to be 3 inches and maybe just a tad over, you know, but it's pretty much 3 inches. And then you can crawl under the truck and you can use it to measure the outside diameter of the exhaust that's going into it, like that. So I did that, and it seems like it's going to fit. This is the bolt from where the front pipe goes into the muffler. I can see some threads on that bolt, so I hit it with some PB Blaster. I'm going to actually try to unscrew that one, maybe, if I can. We'll see if that works. If not, I'll have to cut that band. And on the back side of the muffler, where those 2 hangers are, you can see I've slid my rubber hangers all the way up to the front, to the nubs. If you have a hard time sliding those, just hit them with some lithium grease, and that way that gives me a couple of inches that I can slide this muffler back once I get that front clamp off without the back dropping off. And it'll also make it easier to put the new one on. I'll be able to get it up in the hangers, slid all the way back, and then I'll try to slide it forward and work it onto the pipe. But that should help, I hope. So I got the muffler off. I was able, after spraying it with PB Blaster and letting it soak about an hour, I was able to get that nut off that bracket. So I opened the bracket up. I did the same thing on this end. Took my Dremel tool, cut about an extra inch, got in there with a screwdriver, pried it open, and then taking my handy dandy rubber mallet, I just beat on the end of the muffler, and it slid right off the pipe. I did need my breaker bar to get that nut loose, even after it's soaked with PB Blaster, but with the breaker bar I got it off there. So the old muffler's off. We'll show you the new muffler. So there's the new muffler on the inlet side. That took a 3-inch clamp. That's 3 inch on the inlet. So I put a 3-inch clamp on that. And then the outlet is 2 3/4. So I put 2 3/4 on that. It did go right up into the hangers really nice. I already started it up and checked it. I don't seem to have any major leaks around the joints. One thing I do want to mention is before you tighten any of those clamps down, after you get the pipe all fit together, fit it all together first. Before you tighten it down, make sure this exhaust pipe is up where you want it and not sagging down. There's a little bit of play in it. So I pulled it all the way up about as high as it would go. You can see it's, I don't know, inch and a quarter below the frame, the body there. So I pulled it all the way up so it wouldn't be sagging down. Then I tightened up both the clamps. So everything came out pretty good. It's in there. We'll let you hear what it sounds like running. There it is running. Sounds pretty good. You can kind of tell there's no major leaks, especially before the muffler. You'd hear it much louder. But it sounds good. It sounds about like it did when it was factory. Some people said this muffler was a little louder. I don't hear it. Here's the exhaust sound. But that's what the exhaust sounds like. Sounds good. So there we go, guys. That does it for this episode. I know the people watching my channel for fishing stuff probably won't have any interest in this, but I couldn't find too many videos out there about replacing the muffler on a 2007 Dodge Ram 1500. So maybe this video will help some other people. My truck is the 3.7 liter V6. From what I read, that muffler and the installation and everything is the same for the 4.7 liter, but don't quote me on that. Like I say, the reason I did this is because this is a 16-year-old truck. I would have paid $300–400 to have somebody redo the exhaust, but a 16-year-old truck, I can't pay $1,000 to have the muffler replaced. That's just crazy when I can do it myself for $120. So thanks for watching this video. Hopefully it'll help some people out, and I'll see you on the next video.